on our Philippine journey. Let's see here. Who's in the room? Dave from Alaska. It's 32 degrees in Anchorage. Well, it certainly isn't 32 degrees here. Haresh, yes, I've been watching some of your videos. Very nice, Haresh. California Bear. Nice to see you. Copal, on the road, gassing up, going to listen in the car, hoping for a nice, friendly show. Don't forget to like. Thanks, Copal. Thanks so much. Brewmeister. Wow. You know what? The video that I just put out yesterday, I knew it was going to get a lot of negative comments. I certainly didn't think it was going to get as many as it did. There are a lot of bitter people out there. And I guess rightfully so. But it is what it is. There's no way around it. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks so much for joining. Please do subscribe, hit that thumbs up. All of those things are important to us. So many different things. I got a comment a little bit ago. I wasn't even on the schedule about the Philippines and the Mutual Defense Treaty. People need to look that up. The Mutual Defense Treaty doesn't mean that if I slap you, John's going to help you. Okay? There are some definitive points that have to be and take place before that defense treaty comes into play. So, just a thought. Ricky Last. Good morning, Ricky. How's Florida? No, not Florida. Somewhere up there in the Midwest. Can't remember. Sorry. John, good morning. Michael, Big Daddy from Mars in the house. How you doing, Michael? Hope you're doing well. Smooth Lee, good morning, good afternoon from Vegas. How you doing, Lee? Watched one of your videos the other day. So, either way, let's see here. What are we going to talk about today? Where to find a good girl in the Philippines. That seems to be interesting. Bar girls, always interesting. Let's see. Tonight we have a Christmas party that we have to go to. One of the bars has invited us to their Christmas party. That should be interesting. Ricky says Nebraska. Sorry, Ricky, I couldn't remember offhand. So we'll be attending a Christmas event tonight. Then we're going to have to take a look at making reservations for New Year's. Arlene leaves for the province in 2 days. She leaves on the 21st. She's going to go to the province for about a week, spend Christmas with her parents, with her family, and that ought to be good for her. She's looking forward to it. I hope the weather clears up. Mindanao's got a tropical depression going through it right now, so we'll have to wait and see. Lee says, cool weather in Alaska. Hi, this is Dave. Yeah, Dave, it is cool. That's for sure. So anyways, I saw an interesting, and I actually have a blog coming out about this shortly after we do this live. Where to find a good girl in the Philippines. We get asked that question a lot, and we see it asked a lot. I sometimes get confused now. And when I say by confused, what I mean is, if you look at what a traditional woman is, and if you look at the definition of a traditional woman, I believe all of that was years ago. Years and years ago. Um, that's not, I just don't think that that's a valid thing any longer, or that definition of what was valid. BT and Betty are here. Thanks so much, BT. Good morning, Tin Whistle. Doing great. Hope you're doing well also. So, what I'm saying is a traditional woman. What is that? Is that a woman that sits in the house, makes meals, takes care of the kids, cleans the house, and is essentially the old saying of barefoot and pregnant? I don't think those things, the days of I love Lucy and leave it to Beaver, those are over. They're radically over. People need to get over it. Dave says he'd rather be in Vegas. Hey, Lee, what's the deal with Vegas now? Have they cleaned all the Formula One crap up, or is it still all a mess? That'd be interesting. I'm just wondering. Michael says, just got back from a kid's 2 years birthday party south of Indy. One thing about Filipina, they'll have a great party, and many Filipinos will drive hundreds of miles to attend. Big food spreads. Yeah, I guess. They're very, very family oriented, without a doubt. And that's but that's not necessarily what I would call a traditional woman. And I'm not sure, don't get me wrong, I don't even have a definition for a traditional woman. I get a big kick out of people that say that in order for you to find a good woman and to fall in love with a good woman and to find the right relationship, you have to go to the province to find them. I just totally disagree with that. And I disagree with that on multiple levels. For those of you that want to skip our blog that's coming up, I'll just give you the gist of it right now. I don't believe it because we see it. What happens with these women from the province? I think some people are absolutely in la la land, so to speak, or in their own little fantasy land. I did a blog on this 8 months or so ago, and essentially we asked 10 girls in the bars, hey, where are you from? Okay. Of those 10 girls, 9 of them were from the province. And it's no secret that the vast majority of bar girls are from Leyte, Samar, Mindanao, those areas. Now, there are provincial areas here in Luzon that they're from as well. But you don't find that many bar girls from the city. They're from the province. Well, okay, big deal, you say. Well, I think it is a big deal. Because here's how bar girls work when it comes to that. Bar girls come to Angeles and they work for 3 or 4 months, usually. Now, this is typical. It's not always. We know girls that have worked for a year and a half, haven't been back to the province. But we know bar girls who work for 3 or 4 months and then go back to the province for 5-6 weeks. Now, if you're in the province and you're meeting people in the province, what are the odds are that one of the girls that you might meet is one of these girls that's back from the city? Certainly she's not going to wear a sign that says, hey, I'm a bar girl 3 months out of the year, or I'm a bar girl every other month. No, And it's certainly not going to be advertised because the bar girls tell their friends and family they're working at a car center, they're working somewhere else, they're working at a factory, wherever. Okay? That's what they're, everybody. Now, I'm sure the hidden truth gets known, but it is what it is. Daniel, good morning. How are you? Thanks for dropping in. Bruce. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? Province girls are usually the poorest of the poor. They certainly can be. That's for sure. But I think my point is that, you run into province girls in the province that really and truly, just because they were born in the province and they happen to be there when you meet them, that doesn't mean they haven't been in the bigger cities. And it doesn't mean they haven't been bar girls. We don't see, it's funny, when we spoke with these 10 girls, okay, you don't see educated, employed women from Manila or BGC or Makati up here in Angeles City as a bar girl. Now, you will see poor girls up here, girls without the financial resources, things like that, without a doubt. But I'm saying they can come from anywhere. I really and truly do. Ruby, good morning, good day. Hope things are going well over in Australia. Hope you're doing well. Brewer fan, oh, we're doing well, Brewer. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Van Turner has graced us with his presence. Thank you so much. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is when people say and ask, where am I going to meet a good girl? And so many people come back and say, oh, to fall in love with a good girl, you have to, go into the province. You have to get a province girl that is going to have those traditional values, that they're going to be the ones. And I just call bullshit on that. I think that with the internet being what it is, with access to social media being what it is, I think that the girls of the provinces are exposed to Western idealism extremely well. Very, very well. I think times are changing, and that's just simply the way it is. And I think people need to recognize that. Let's see here. Ruby, expats have to realize that most of the bar girls in AC are not locals who have been born and raised in Pampanga. Absolutely, Ruby, and that was the point I was making. A vast majority of them are from Samar. They're from Mindanao. They're, Leyte, Bisaya, and some of the outer provinces of even Luzon. But you don't find, I think maybe in the years that we've been around, we've only run into a handful at best. And when I say a handful, I'm talking about 3 or 4 maybe that would admit, oh no, I was born and raised right here in Angeles, or I was born and raised in Purak, or, in the surrounding area of Pampanga. Very few. So what you do find, though, is that these girls are from the provinces. And then we took it a step further. We were at SM, and then I started thinking, okay, every time we go to a restaurant and the waitress is chatty and funny, or not funny, but, at least, chatty, we'd ask them where they're from. The vast majority of these women were not from Angeles. All right? The vast majority of them had relatives in Angeles, but they came from the province. So Ruby's, correct. Absolutely. Michael says, I have a buddy who had a saying, the only thing a poor girl has to give is her ass. These were the ones he dated. This is the kind of guy that get bar girls. That's a pretty misogynistic statement. I got to tell you, I believe that every individual, guy or girl, can better their life. They can improve upon what they are. Okay? And I don't mean that they have to do it by exploitation, but they are capable of doing that. So, I don't know. Van Turner. Van Turner said, I heard a lot of AC bar girls are from Leyte and Samar. I went to accomplish one time, ate the reef, never entering a bar. I think he means he went to Angeles City one time, ate at Tequila Reef, never entering a bar. You know what, Van? Sure. There's plenty of other stuff in Angeles Cities besides the bars. That's for sure. And yes, a large number of the bar girls are from Samar and Leyte. I don't know if this happens now, but 10, 15 years ago, there were women here in Angeles who literally would get on a bus, go to the province, Samar, somewhere, anywhere, all right, and recruit girls from Samar and Leyte to come to Angeles. Whether it was legitimate recruiting, whether it was the promise of one job and it was another, I think all of those things are debatable at best. But yes, they were recruited to come. So I don't think so. Roger, everybody talks about bar girls. How about a video on province church girls and attending church to meet quality wifey material? Good fucking luck on that, Roger. All right. You know what? I'm sure that people will do it. I'm sure that it's possible to do. I can tell you that, well, you know what? All I can do is tell you that my time in church is limited, and I wouldn't go to a church to meet women. Although I've heard about it. I've certainly heard about it. But, I've seen these guys that know how to pick up women, where to pick up women. You should go to the Mercado. You should go here. You should go there. Go to church. Talk about this. Talk about that. That the Philippine moms will love you, and then they'll introduce you to their daughters. I'm not sure I would really want to go that route. But, you know what? Maybe it works. I don't know. But is this the same mom that her daughter goes to the big city to work in a call center for 4 months and then comes back? How do you know she was really in a call center? How do you know she wasn't working in a bar? I'm just saying you have to take those things into consideration. Tejas Filipino, Merry Christmas from Texas. Enjoy your podcast. Thank you, Tejas. 45 in the room. We're very grateful for that. Very, very. Yes, Van came back. AC, autocorrect. So, Van says, Roger, you don't think bar girls go to church? They absolutely do. In fact, I told you I have a series about when, we owned a topless bar. I owned it. This is before Arlen, many years ago, 1990s. I owned by accident a topless bar in Phoenix. And we had one dancer who certainly needed Narcotics Anonymous. I mean, just the truth, and that's the way it is. All right. And she went to not just church, she went to Mass every Sunday, and she went to confession every Wednesday. Lori the Nun. You can look for that story in the. I used to own a strip bar, I think is what it's called. Anyways, you're right though, Van. They go to church because when they go back to the province, they have to keep up that persona. The persona of their province person is much different than the persona of when they're, on Flower Street in Cebu, or they're in the entertainment district in Davao, or they're in Angeles City, or on P. Borges in Makati. Ruby says, Mike, this has been going on since the 60s and 70s when the bases were in full force. Yeah, Ruby, it's been going on long before I got here, and there are so many different facets. It's not a cut and dry situation. It really and truly is not. It is multifaceted, and and that's why I say, you don't have to go to the province to meet a province girl, and you don't have to go find. Not every girl you find in the province is going to be that perfect angel. Per Aj Goperd. Find a girl with an education who comes from a home with indoor plumbing and not having 8 siblings. Well, I guess that's one factor you could put in place. There's a good number of those. It depends on what you call an education, but there's a good number of them. Mark Wilson, the usual story when is the American going to move into the new naval base stations? Mark, I'm going to tell you this as I've told you every fucking time, and I'm getting a little tired of it. All right? Nobody knows when the people are going to move at all, or if, number one. Number two, these are not American bases. This is going to be a leased space within a Filipino base. And you're never going to see the type of infrastructure of American bases that you saw in your day. That's not what this is about. First off, war isn't even like that now. But, Mark, it's just not going to happen, buddy. Just get over it. Bruce, in my humble opinion, the best place to meet a hypocrite is in a church. Bruce, I've heard that before. Indeed, I have. I will tell you this. I'm not saying anything, but when I was a teenager, my first venture into oral sex was with the preacher's daughter. And I saw her in church all the time. And that's really about all I'm not going to comment a whole lot on that. James, good morning. How you doing, James? Hope you're doing well. You've had some really great comments lately. James puts out some really good stuff. Van Turner, they recruited for maid jobs in Manila. Then upon arrival, the job filled, right? But we'll get you a job in AC. No choice, broke, no food, no shelter, or ticket home. Yeah, Van. And then it's my understanding that there's some debt that sometimes they would have to reimburse the recruiter for. So I don't know. I have no idea how all that works. Arlene was never a bar girl, never recruited, never even approached to be one. She had a regular job. Her mother passed away when she was young. She left the province and went to work, essentially, in Makati. John, you can meet some good bad girls in church, just as many bad girls outside. Yeah, you know what, John? And that's what I'm saying. You know, I literally I cannot carry a tune. I sing worse than anybody you will ever hear. But the church across the street from my father's house had a youth group that they sang. It was a church singing thing. All right. And I was a part of it. I didn't go to church, but I was a part of that. Oh, I think maybe once every 2-3 months I'd go to a Sunday sermon or whatever. All right. But I'm going to tell you, those were some good, bad girls. And they were all church girls. Ruby, when we do settle in Angeles City, I'll see if any of the professional single women would be interested in meeting expats. That would be a project. You know what, Ruby? That would be excellent. That would show people the other side. I would highly, highly recommend it. I think it would be interesting, to say the least. And if I think anybody could do it, Ruby could do it. She's so well organized. Robert Power, Merry Christmas from Idaho. Hey, Robert. Well, Merry Christmas from Angeles City. Peter Perg. Hi, Mike, our Philippine journey. How you doing, Peter? Hope you're doing well. Big Surf still in Scottsdale? Big Surf. Is that a person or is that a restaurant bar? I don't know, Van. Obviously, I wouldn't have the answer because it doesn't ring a bell with me. So I'm not so sure, to be honest with you. Michael, from what I've experienced in the Philippines, province family honor is a big thing. My family by marriage will not accept this in the family. The one brother is a drunk and been beaten up by family. You know, Michael, I think all of the Philippines are very, the vast majority are very honorable, and honor means a lot to them. I would bet you, you know, Ruby, for instance, is from Angeles City, and I bet honor is a big thing in her family. I look at, there's another blog that comes out of Angeles City, George and Heidi, Philippine Antics. George is from Angeles, and I've heard him speak about his family. You know what he says? Nothing. He says nothing about his family because they're very private, honorable people. So, yeah, I don't think it has to be just the province. And then I can tell you, in the province, there are just as many bad, dishonorable people. I can tell you that in Arlen's province, there are people who stay drunk. There are people who have drinking habits that are outrageous. There are people with drug habits. So it happens everywhere, I think, Michael. I don't know. Mitch, I spent some time in a province this October. 3 mothers came by my ex-girlfriend's store and wanted me to introduce their daughter to a foreigner. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It really and truly doesn't. Especially if you're setting a good example. You know, it may be that the only reference they have to a foreigner is the reference level that you set. And if you set a good example, they're going to assume all foreigners are like that. You know, I have no idea, Mitch, but it's interesting, that's for sure. Michael, so you and the preacher's daughter talked about sex. What did she know? Well, Michael, I'll tell you, she didn't teach me anything new, but she sure perfected my technique. That's for sure. She was a lot of fun. Van says Subic has never been American. Leased, yes, but not owned. Philippines tried to jack up the leases so high that America left. Good decision by Philippines. Didn't pay. Yes, absolutely. It's funny. I actually had a long conversation with a guy that's been here for 30 years last year. He was um, a geologist or some sort of geology engineer at UP Dillman. All right. And he actually, after Pinatubo, was contracted by the Air Force to do a study on how high was the sulfur level of the ash. And when he did, they did it in like 48 hours. They submitted the results. And he said, the Air Force immediately said it'll be 10 years before we can station jets of high-end jets back in Clark, just based on the sulfur content of the dust that's going to be around for that period of time. They had to acid wash the jets and get them out. And that's his story. So I don't know, but that's his story. Van Turner, 10% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Philippines found out. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I can't argue, Van. Like the bar girls in Pattaya, they are from Isan and other provinces in Thailand. Yes, I've actually heard that. We've never lived in Thailand. We've been to Thailand, been to Pattaya, been to Chiang Mai, been to a lot of places in Thailand. And I've also heard that a vast majority of the girls in Pattaya are from Isan, but I don't know. It's possible. Big Surf, man-made ocean with waves for surfing. Well, there are a couple of big water parks where they have gigantic wave pools that cycle like every 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes in Scottsdale. And then they have these ramps that are got water coming down about 40 miles an hour that you can surf on. But you know what? I haven't looked at those in years, so I don't know, Van. Ruby, I saw firsthand university girls on weekend hook with foreigner guys at resorts to pay for education. I talked with a guy from Germany, told me the cost he paid. Yes, actually, we have seen that as well. And we have heard about that as well, where university girls, especially in the bigger cities, the BGC, Makati area, will hook up for tuition money and vacation money. We've seen it. We've heard it. Okay? So that doesn't surprise me at all. Van Turner says Isan would be a place to check out. I don't know what Isan's like. I really don't. Anybody ever been to Isan before? I don't know. Hillbilly Pro, who loves you, baby? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. 45 in the room, 25 thumbs up. Hey, you know what? I'm pretty grateful for that. It's unusual. A Joe named Mike. I was at Clark during Pinatubo. The jets were already gone before the eruptions began. Yeah, and at that point they started doing relief services, is what he said. And even those relief services, they had to reroute back to other areas just based on the acid wash. So I think that the willingness to leave Clark and Subic was twofold. I think the government was glad to see them leave, and the Americans were, okay, we're gone. We don't want to stay any place where it's not to our advantage. Hillbilly Pyro, I'm good. Been in Cebu, having a good time. So what's it like in Cebu, Hillbilly? Are you there with a friend? Are you there by yourself? Are you going down to the bars on Flower Street, or are you doing the tourist thing? Have you met a young lady? What's it been like? That would be interesting. So let's see here. What else were we getting at? Oh, traditional Filipino women. So I think that's different. I think those things are totally different um, than what they used to be. I think just like traditional American women have changed, traditional Filipino women are changing. Um, I think the only thing that holds them back are old guys like me. You know, guys that come over with these preconceived convictions of this is what I want. I want someone like my mom was. I want someone that's going to take care of me. I want to be able to sit, watch TV, and a beer is going to show up on my end table and a sandwich is going to show up on my end table. I don't even have to worry about it. I saw a blogger talking about that the other day. More power to him. From what I've watched of him, his girlfriend, partner, baby mama, she pretty much lives in servitude to this guy. But it is what it is. I went to Naga last night for the Xmas lights. It was fun till it was over, and 4,000 all tried to catch a cab at once. Oh, Naga City. Is that Naga City? No, Naga. Different spot. I was wondering if that's where the old Cano is. But no, he's in a different Naga. He's in Naga City. Let's see here. Let's catch up on a couple of these. John says, I flew to Manila. Is that Kuya John? I flew to Manila to meet a Filipina I met online for 10 days in the hotel room. She always had religious programs on the TV or gospel music on the radio, but it was always naked and wanting to play. Well, I guess it's willing to make a few sacrifices, aren't you, John? I don't know. I've never experienced that type of an issue or a problem. You know, I don't know how I would have reacted to always having to have religious programs on the TV or gospel music. Maybe it's worth the trade-off. I don't know. But is that Kuya John, I wonder? James says it's raining here in Laguna today, which is good. The dogs don't like to walk in this weather. Hey, James. Yeah, we're getting a lot of wind and rain down in our home in Mindanao. All of Arlen's family is shuttled into our house to wait out the storm that's going on in Mindanao right now. Here in Angeles City, it's overcast, but it hasn't rained yet. Ruby, Michael, I don't know those type of girls personally. People I'm referring to comes from middle to high income families. I think that would be great, Ruby. I think I would like to know what their standards would be like, Ruby. I would like to know what would make them want to date a foreigner. What would their standards, age plus or minus, looks plus or minus, even history, how many children they may have had or marriages they've already been in. Or I just think that would be an incredibly interesting thing, Ruby. I really do. Crazy trying to have sex, or should I say be intimate with someone preaching over your shoulder. Yeah, that's not something I think I could deal with. John from North Carolina. Okay, John. All right. I spoke with my mom this morning. She's doing really good. She's all okay right now. Van says rain and cool in Tagaytay. Okay. Man, we went to Tagaytay for the first time. I'd never been to Tagaytay before. We went there about a month or so ago when one of Arlen's friends was in town, and they had friends that owned a restaurant in Tagaytay. That's a pretty cool place, to be honest with you. But don't you get just absolutely stressed out like crazy with the weekend tourists there? Because, man, it was crazy. Hillbilly, I don't fit in a jeepney at all. Watching the other riders' faces as I got on was funny. Yeah, I don't fit in a jeepney well at all either. It's been several years, 5 years at least, since I've been in a jeepney. Raining here as well in Cebu. Okay. Michael says, look at the pay rate of American workers in 1917. This is the same wage they have exported new jobs from the West are paying in Asia. This is not adjusted for inflation. Asian workers should be making $18 an hour. And they can't afford to pay $18 an hour. Look, they can't afford to do anything. The problem in the Philippines is they've got to enact an accurate revenue system. I would very much bet you that 30 to 50% of all sales in the Philippines never get reported and are never taxed, and people don't pay the revenue tax or value-added tax or taxes on that. And without that money, the Philippines is going to have a very, very difficult time. John says, that's why I always question when someone says they're looking for a good woman. I would think was a good woman. I would think that was a good woman. I don't know. Again, Michael, I just can't give you an answer. John, I can't give you an answer. I know that what I think as a traditional woman, what I think of as a traditional woman is someone that can hold their own. All right? That if they have to go back to work to earn a living, they will. If, can they take care of the finances? Can they make sure that, can they help assist their partner? Are they an integral part of a unit? Whatever parts that is, that's what I think a good woman is. Ruby, I'll keep that suggestion in mind, Mike. I'm telling you, Ruby, I just think it would be interesting. I really and truly do. Florida Man. Hey, Mike, hope you guys are well, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Florida Man. Hope you guys are doing well also. Thanks for joining us. John says, storm is mostly past now, calming down. Maybe another passing shower after midnight. Nice. Yeah, I talked to my mom early this morning, late yesterday, late your afternoon, and she was doing fine. What about cashiers? They are already trusted by the store owners. No, they're not. There's a camera on every cashier. And in many places, there's a person watching that cashier on top of the camera, watching the cashier, on top of another camera, watching the person watching. I will tell you, as I think is very common, I see what certain bars go through accounting for liquor usage and sales. Okay? And it's interesting. It's really interesting. Let me explain this to you. Bear with me. So in a bar, every girl gets a commission. And I'm not going to say which bars do this, but this is I know several that do this. Okay? So the girl gets a little ticket. So the waitress comes over, you order a drink. You're going to get a receipt for the drink. Then there's going to be a pink receipt usually for another drink. That's the bill for her drink because there's two different prices. Okay? Then the girl's going to get this little tab. All right? And that's going to be what she turns in to get her commissions. Well, what happens here is the bar has to account for the tickets. And then, in addition to that, the pink slip has to go to the mama-san to track each girl's sales because most of these girls have a minimum number of drinks they have to sell during a period of time, whether it's per day, per week, whatever. Okay? Then the two of those end up going to the bookkeeper in order to track it. And then it's easy to track from there how many bottles of beer because they're a single unit sale. And the rule of thumb in the bar business is 28 shots per bottle. But those are whole shots. Okay? Most of you don't realize that lady drinks are only a half a shot. And they count them up. I had a friend, I'm not a friend, I have an acquaintance who was the CPA. This guy is a Westerner. He's the CPA for a group of bars. Going to leave it at that. And he's got spreadsheets that he plugs all these numbers into. And by God, their bar count at the end. So and when a bar closes, they do what's called a bar count. All right. At the end of that shift, it's how many Sam Miggs do I have left? How many Sam Mig Apple? How many light? How many whatever? Okay. How many bottles of this? How many bottles of that? And then those open bottles, are they 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or full? And you plug that into these spreadsheets. We had one in ours. In fact, in our bar, we sold a lot of draft. Okay. And how did I track draft? How do you track that? Well, what I did was, and I wish I could say it was my idea, but it wasn't. It was the previous owner's idea. He went to a truck stop, got the information for these scales that these trucks drive on, got one, and he bought one of these scales that the tires rest on and weigh. We had this huge walk-in chiller, and in that chiller in the back is where we would stack all the kegs. All right? And my bartenders would show the weight before their shift and the weight at the end of their shift. And from that, we would get a pour. Okay? Based on how much weight was missing. Now, you have to account for spillage and stuff like that. But that worked extremely well. Trust me, cashiers aren't always well trusted. Ruby, don't bet on it. Play is play, cash is cash. Cash doesn't mean they need money. That's true. Van's got a really valid point with that. I don't think Filipino women are any more conservative in bed than Western women. I really don't. I think they can be just as imaginative, as aggressive, and as fun as any Western woman. A Joe named Mike. Big guys should ride up front in the Jeep. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that, Joe. Van Turner. We just don't go anywhere really on the weekend. Too many tourists. Monday through Friday is plenty of time to do. Yeah. You know what? It's pretty similar for us, Van, even here. We don't go out. We wanted dinner the other night. The other night, Arlen wanted Indian food. And I was like, okay. So there's 3 Indian restaurants that we like. One, it was a Saturday night. I knew that place was going to be a zoo. The second one, I knew where it was, and it would have been okay. Wouldn't have been too packed, but physically getting there would have been a pain in the ass. The third one, delivers, and that's the one that we used. And you know something? It was delicious. Absolutely. Except, there's another question. I asked my daughter this morning. I'm asking all of you. If you eat Indian food and you get Indian food where you live, and you get naan bread, okay? Do you get hummus? 2 of the 3 Indian restaurants that we like don't serve hummus. I find that bizarre. But my daughter said that hummus is not that big of an Indian thing. I don't know. She said it's not that common in the Indian restaurants that they go to in Sacramento, California. I don't know. You guys tell me, if you like Indian food, that is. Let's see here. We just don't go anywhere on the weekends. No problem. John and Mike, yeah, I learned that, but still had to sit sideways. Yeah. It is difficult. John says he agrees. James says, I've been to Tagaytay several times. If you want to stay cool, that's the place. Was drinking at an outside bar overlooking Taal when the sun went down. I got the chills. Yeah. And you know something, James? So Arlen's friend has friends that own a restaurant overlooking Taal on the lake. And I never had Balula or Balulo or however you say it. That shit's good. And this restaurant kind of specializes in that. That's really good. Michael, you missed my point. The rich imported workers to the USA for less than $1 an hour. Now they're exploiting the poor in Asia for the same amount. Now I understand what you're saying, Michael. Okay. Van Turner, I wasn't looking for a good woman, but a bad one. You screwed up and found a good one. No, Van, that's not screwing up. That's getting lucky. Trust me. Carefree Chris, how you doing? Good morning. I hope you're doing well there. Thank you so much for watching us and saying such nice things. Paul, how you doing, Paul? Nice to see you here. Are you ready for the holidays down there? You guys gonna? You don't work for a hospital. You work in a private setting. Are you guys gonna slow down with the patient loads for the holidays? Hillbilly Pro. My girlfriend walked me probably 10 miles looking for clothes my size. Went to more malls than I could keep track of. Finally found some my size, and I friggin' left the bag in the jeepney. Went to so many places. Oh, man. Hillbilly, I'm sorry. In the SM stores, if you go to a mall that has a big SM store, it's going to be like an anchor store, all right? They have a section called Max Wear where they will have all the way up to a size 6, which is about a 2.5 extra large in the U.S. So that's a suggestion for that. There are a couple of custom places in Manila, but I've never been to one. Harish, how are you? Yes, very good. You guys should check out Harish. He does Japanese food blogging. Very good stuff. I've watched several of his blogs. Oh, Harish, thank you so much. Wow. I have a super stacker, a pile of poop with a face. Wow. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Sometimes I wonder whether I even remember to turn the monetization on. Harish says, how's your day today? Did you have your breakfast? What kind of food do you like to eat? I eat a very traditional American breakfast. I have eggs and a bagel or grits and eggs here, or some sort of an egg breakfast here. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I go to Tequila Reef and I almost always get the same thing, bacon and eggs. So for me, it's pretty traditional for breakfast. James Gilbert, I thought hummus was Jewish. I don't know. I love it. I'll tell you that. Wow, Indian food, yummy. Did you try tandoori chicken? We had chicken tikka. We had butter chicken, and we had a curry, a marsala chicken marsala curry, along with like a rice pilaf type stuff and some naan bread, and it's great. And we have enough left over for another solid meal, and it was $24 US. So it was that would have cost a lot more than that in the US, and that doesn't count delivery. I mean, that was with delivery, with a tip to the driver and everything, $24. Which Indian restaurant delivers? I can find out. Let me just text Arlene real quick, and I will find out, because she won't come in here while I'm doing a live, but I will text her and ask, what is the name of the Indian food resto we ordered from Saturday night? Okay, so I just texted her, and she'll send it back, and then I'll put it up maybe, if I can find a way to convert it over. Philippines culture raised women to behave properly and been told to be good wife and mother from childhood to womanhood. Yes, Ruby, I agree with that, but I think that it's taking on a deeper personality now. I believe that Philippine culture also raises women to be sufficient, self-sufficient, to be providers, to be. I think that I don't think that Philippine culture is solely based anymore on find a man and have him support you and get pregnant and pop out babies. I believe that it's much more complex now. I really do. Harish, I hope one day I can go there to blog food. Blogging food is easy to do in the Manila, Makati, Angeles area. There are tons of restaurants. Some of them are very high end. Some of them are just standard. There are quite a few famous restaurants. There's a very famous Sisig restaurant right here in Angeles. Who sells a hamburger here that doesn't taste like soy beast? Jollibee hamburger's pretty bad. Pretty bad. If it's going to be fast food, you're going to have to end up with Burger King. Wendy's isn't bad either. Okay? Wendy's does pretty good, but I don't know what's in Cebu. I would imagine you have Burger King for sure. Probably have that. And you may have some of the upper end restaurants that put out a decent burger. Van, I don't even have an AC. No need. Indian food without hummus is like Mexican without salsa. Van, you don't have air conditioning? You live here with no air conditioning, Van? Wow. I could not do that. Michael says, all you guys in the Philippines, I'm eating cheese and cracker, beef sticks, and drinking beer. Hard to find. Yeah, summer beef sausage is hard to come across. Here, you're only going to find it very selectively during certain parts of the year, unless, yeah. In addition to that, you know, like one of the hardest things to get that we find is just normal Ritz crackers. We have different flavored Ritz crackers, but just the standard Ritz crackers, it's like they're in competition with Fita, which is a Philippine company, puts out a cracker very similar to Ritz, but not as buttery and rich as Ritz. So January is always very slow in surgery. December is usually very busy because patients have to meet that. Yeah, they always want to get those deductibles met and get them out and take full advantage of everything before they have to start their deductibles all over again in January. We went through the very same problem. Hummers are a worldwide dish. Ah, Michael, shame on you. Mike wants to know, why do you always say, let's talk about it? You know what? I say it because I want you to become engaged. I want to tell you stuff, and then in the comments, I want you to talk about it. We want you to become engaged. Our goal is to engage you, all right? To give you something, food for thought, for looking for opinions, and quite frankly, we learn from you guys as well. All right? That's why I do it. All Van wants for Christmas is a Hummer. Gonna have a hard time filling that thing up with gas. James, me to Mike, I eat eggs, smoked sausage from Johnsonville, Wisconsin, and a good smoked bacon every morning. Yeah, we get the smoked sausages from Johnsonville at S&R. Eggs are eggs, and I only eat one meat for breakfast. So, Harish says you seem to love Indian food. I like it. I like a lot of food. I really and truly do. I like Indian food. I love Lebanese food. Tabbouleh, falafel. All kinds of different, lamb kebabs. Love all of that. I love Japanese food. You have to remember, I was raised in Japan. So, a lot of sushi that I like, a lot of ramen that I like. Which restaurant you suggest in Manila? I would suggest a couple of different ones, but it depends really, truly, Harish, on what part of Manila you're going to stay in. I really love the Sofitel and their restaurant over by the embassy. There is a Wolfgang Puck Steakhouse in Resort World, which is good. All right, but it has its off days. Every restaurant has its off days. It really and truly does. Do you travel to Manila? Yeah, we go to Manila. We're down there pretty often. Arlene was just down in Manila 2 weeks ago. We had a buddy of ours flying in, and she drove down and picked him up at the airport. Rick wants to think, Mike, 2 or 4 rate cuts in the coming year. 2024, 2 tops. I really don't see. I think they hold off at 2, and save the rest for the election year. Mike says, I look like one of the Munsters. Let's talk about it. Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm glad my wife doesn't feel that way. But it's okay. It's not like you and I are going to be swapping spit anytime soon. Hey, it says 74 to 84 here year-round. Only need fan. Rainy days, even a little chilly. Manila, my AC stayed on 24/7. 74, yeah. At 80 degrees, I've got the AC on, just to get the humidity out of the air. Summer sausage off Lazada, like 2,000 pesos. Yeah, you can get it. I've ordered it from there before, only for it to not be in stock. Christine Lagarde of the European Central Bank says they did not even discuss cuts. The Bank of England as well as the Bank of Canada all avoided rate cuts. Yeah, and they have to. As much as we want to bitch and complain about the U.S. economy, I think it's in better shape than a lot of other people's. But I just worry about our incredible debt. Dos Bagos bombarded with 1 million ads here in the States. Did you keep Medicare Part B? Yes. Actually, no, I did not, but I will. I don't qualify for Medicare. I'm not 65. Not yet. But when I do turn 65, I will. And my mother has Medicare A and B. Filipinas evolved in the 80s where it's no longer a norm to be a full-time housewife. Have to finish a degree in uni and a career. Getting married is not a priority, but financial independence. Very good. And that's what I was saying, Ruby. I'm glad you said it that way. I totally agree. I think Filipinos still value all of those traditional things, but I think that they also understand that women should not be subjugated, women should not be held down, and women should be able to excel because they're quite capable, and I think that they just should. And I think that that's what's happening. Sofitel or casinos are good and have USDA. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Sunday buffet at the Sofitel, I love their restaurant just for the meals, but the Sunday buffet at the Sofitel is one of the best, if not the best, in Manila. Mike, if it came up on your news feed about swapping spit, could we talk about it? I guess it would depend on how it came up. You can try Dangwon Garden Korean Unlimited Korean Buffet. Well, all right. So, Harish, when you talk about a Korean buffet, all right, here's I'm trying to think for a second. Korean barbecue, traditionally here, you're cooking your own meats. I have an adverse reaction to paying somebody to let me cook at a restaurant. The Korean Unlimited Korean Buffet, I haven't tried that. Dangwon Garden, where is that? I'm not sure where that's at. Arlene must be in the shower. She hasn't responded to her text yet. I will say this about every buffet in the Philippines. They suck. But I pay for the cheese, the olives, cold cuts, and other Western foods I can find. I feel like a crack ahead looking for a fix. Michael, Have you ever been to the Sunday buffet at the Sofitel Hotel? There's just no way I can believe that you would call that suck. And then I would think you would be there if you pay for the cheese. The Sofitel's buffet, they have a glass room with, I think it's over 200 kinds of cheese. And I don't know how many different kinds of like prosciutto, salami, stuff like that in there as well. They only allow a couple people in at a time. It's small. It's the smell. They have cheese from all over the world. Just incredible. But their regular buffet food is great. It's one of the few places I've found with good, tender prime rib. We'll try the Sofitel and the Wolf Steakhouse. Yeah. When are you coming, Harish? Do you know? What are Rick Pretch wants to know my thoughts on EVs. Mike, Philippines is the world's number 2 producer of nickel, though not the second largest deposits. I don't have much thought on that, to be honest with you. I'm not a precious metals or metals investor, so I couldn't really tell you. I would worry that the Philippines is the world number 2 producer of nickel. It seems to me to ring in the back of my mind that extracting nickel requires a lot of sulfuric acid. But maybe I'm thinking of another metal. I'm not a geologist. I'm sorry, Britt, but we're those kind of people that we only try and talk about what we actually understand. Mike, not really humid in Tagaytay. I'm from Texas and went to school in Casa Grande, so heat doesn't bother me. Wow, Van, Casa Grande? I know Casa Grande very well. Very, very well. I was very deeply involved with Casa Grande Regional Medical Center. When did you leave Casa Grande? Just out of curiosity. And I'm assuming you're talking about Casa Grande in Arizona. Mike Rogers kind of just posted a video trashing you, talking about your location and your subject matter. Wow. Really? That's new. I just saw the video he posted this morning. Didn't trash me at all. I think you're full of shit, Mike. But you know what? Let's just look and see. Let's see if Mike is full of shit. Old Cano and videos, and take off those rose-colored glasses. And I got to tell you, Mike, I think you're full of shit. Okay? If you're going to run your mouth like that, brush your teeth first. We don't want that shit breath out here. Because I watched that video and you didn't say a word about me. California and the EU have basically banned combustible images. Do you think that they'll be able to come? No, I don't think they'll even come close to it. I don't think they'll come even close to it. All right? It'll never you know what? It's not going to happen in your lifetime or my lifetime. That's for sure. For the EV batteries that everyone will be driving. Yeah, I recognize that. But EVs, you know what? They're falling off. Charging stations aren't making money. It is what it is. Pines are more Americanized because of the internet. Absolutely, Van. I totally agree. Even as slow as it is. Sofitel restaurant is called Sprint. It used to be the number one buffet in the Philippines. Yes, yes. I heard. I think it was Viking or something like that. That that took over into the first place. I don't know, but man, I actually lived in a Sofitel hotel in Houston, Texas, for 6 months. So their bakeries are always great. I don't know about the vote now. I don't know. I'm sorry, Van. I'm not sure. Oh, about what it's rated. Yeah. Michael Ruby, from what I've been exposed to, is that the women in the family are the economic driving force to get a family out of poverty. The guys are left to work in the Providence. You know what? I think it's diversified in Mike. I really and truly do. I think when we start stereotyping um, uh, people, we need to throw everything in the past out. And when we throw it out, there's nothing to stereotype with. So I don't exactly know. Dong Wong is in Passe. Outstanding chow. Okay. Mall of Asia. Well, we do go to Mall of Asia once in a while. So I'll have to put that on our um, list. Yes, Spiral. I knew Sprint didn't ring a bell, but Spiral, yes, it is. Korean buffets are also a thing here in Australia, but I'm not a fan of them. If I go out for dinner, I'd like my food cooked and served. Yeah, and I'm not sure if he was talking about a Korean buffet or a Korean barbecue, or are they the same thing? I don't know. I know that it's, I think, almost all you can eat in some of these samgyupsang whatever places in that we've been to, which I'm just not a fan of. Arlene loves them. Arlene absolutely loves them. Michael, I stay away from Manila. I don't do well in a crowded city. I spent a lifetime fighting crowds and want a simple life. More power to you. Harish will email me before I come. Do that, Harish. Harish, if you're going to come and you're going to go and you're going to end up at Spiral at the Sofitel, you know something? Let us know and we'll see if we can arrange to be there at the same time. Mike, a troll. It won't be my first one and it won't be my last one, that's for sure. Hillbilly Pyro, have a good day. All going to nap and enjoy. Take care, Hillbilly. Great that you stopped by, I think. Yes, Casa Grande, Arizona. I went to a private school called the Villa Eloy, just right down the road from Union 76 on I-10. I left in 77 and knew you worked around Casa Grande. Yes, my practice covered Casa Grande. We covered 11 hospitals in Arizona, and Casa Grande was one of them. So I knew them quite well. I don't think they will achieve it by 2035 either, but we'll move towards that direction, meaning the need for more nickel. Buying a nickel mine in the PA may be getting in on the ground floor. I got to tell you, Rick, buying anything in the Philippines is a risk, a huge risk. And the refining of it, the mining of it, it's not something, I mean, if you're familiar with that kind of business, great, maybe. Sofitel is really good, yeah. No-No's in the big malls is some of the best pizza I ever ate. No-No's? Really? James, we don't have a No-No's here in Angeles that I'm aware of. That would be nice, I think. Pretty sure it would be. Let's see here. While we're waiting for that to come back, Mike Rogers. Well, there we go. We just banned Mike Rogers. That's the first time I've ever done that. I've never banned anybody in a live stream. Isn't that pathetic that it would come to that? Isn't it senseless? It really and truly is. That's just sad. It is. But so with all of that being said, you know what? We've been on for an hour and 20 minutes, and we are going to scoot on out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you for dropping by. If we don't see you or you don't have time, hey, we hope all of you have a great holiday, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Hanukkah, whether it's whatever it is, that you enjoy your holiday, that your family does well, and that you're safe. Otherwise, thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye.